Alison Maria Krauss is an American bluegrass-country singer-songwriter and musician. She entered the music industry at an early age, winning local contests by the age of 10 and recording for the first time at 14. She signed with Rounder Records in 1985 and released her first solo album in 1987. She was invited to join the band with which she still performs, Alison Krauss and Union Station, and later released her first album with them as a group in 1989. She has released 14 albums, appeared on numerous soundtracks, and helped renew interest in bluegrass music in the United States. Her soundtrack performances have led to further popularity, including the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Soundtrack, an album also credited with raising American interest in bluegrass, and the Cold Mountain soundtrack, which led to her performance at the 2004 Academy Awards. As of 2012, she has won 27 Grammy Awards from 41 nominations, tying her with Quincy Jones as the most awarded living recipient, second only to the late classical conductor Sir Georg Solti, who holds the record for most wins of all time. She is the most awarded singer and the most awarded female artist in Grammy history. At the time of her first, the 1991 Grammy Awards, she was the second youngest winner. Biography: Alison Maria Krauss was born in Decatur, Illinois to Fred and Louise Krauss. Her father was a German immigrant who came to the United States in 1952 and taught his native language. Her mother, of German and Italian descent, is the daughter of artists. Alison grew up in the college town of Champaign, home to the University of Illinois. She began studying classical violin at age 5 but soon switched to bluegrass. Krauss said she first became involved with music because, "My mother tried to find interesting things for me to do, and wanted to get me involved in music, in addition to art and sports." At the age of 8 she started entering local talent contests, and at 10 had her own band. At 13 she won the Walnut Valley Festival Fiddle Championship, and the Society for the Preservation of Bluegrass in America named her the most promising fiddler in the Midwest. Krauss first met Dan Tyminski around 1984 at a festival held by the Society. Every current member of her band, Union Station, first met her at these festivals. 1985–1991, early career: Krauss made her recording debut in 1985 on the independent album, Different Strokes, featuring her brother Victor Krauss, Swamp Vice and Jim Hoyles. From the age of 12 she performed with bassist and songwriter John Pennell in a band called Silver Rail, replacing their previous fiddler Andrea Zahn. Pennell later changed the band's name to Union Station after another band was discovered with the name Silver Rail. Pennell remains one of her favorite songwriters and wrote some of her early work including the popular Every Time You Say Goodbye. Later that year she signed to Rounder Records, and in 1987, at 16, she released her debut album Too Late to Cry with Union Station as her backup band. Krauss' debut solo album was quickly followed by her first group album with Union Station in 1989, Two Highways. The album includes the traditional tunes, Wild Bill Jones and Beaumont Rag, along with a bluegrass interpretation of the Allman Brothers' Midnight Rider. Krauss' contract with Rounder required her to alternate between releasing a solo album and an album with Union Station, and she released the solo album I've Got That Old Feeling in 1990. It was her first album to rise onto the Billboard charts, peaking in the top 75 on the country chart. The album also was a notable point in her career as she earned her first Grammy Award. The single Steel Rails was her first single tracked by Billboard, and the title single I've Got That Old Feeling was the first song, for which she recorded a music video. 1992–1999, rising success: Krauss' second Union Station album Every Time You Say Goodbye was released in 1992, and she went on to win her second Grammy for Best Bluegrass Album of the Year. She then joined the Grand Ole Opry in 1993 at the age of 21. She was the youngest cast member at the time, and the first bluegrass artist to join the Opry in 29 years. She also collaborated on a project with the Cox family in 1994, a bluegrass album called I Know Who Holds Tomorrow. Mandolin and guitar player Dan Tyminski replaced Tim Stafford in Union Station in 1994. Late in the year, Krauss recorded with the band Shenandoah on its single Somewhere in the Vicinity of the Heart, which brought her to the country music top 10 for the first time. Also in 1994, Krauss collaborated with Suzy Bogguss, Kathy Mattea, and Crosby, Stills, and Nash to contribute Teach Your Children to the AIDS benefit album Red Hot Plus Country produced by the Red Hot organization. In 1997, she recorded vocals and violin for Half a Mind, on Tommy Shaw's Seven Deadly Sins album. Now That I Found You, a collection, a compilation of older releases and some covers of her favorite works by other artists, was released in 1995. Some of these covers include Bad Company's Oh Atlanta, The Foundations and Dan Schafer's Baby, Now That I Found You, which was used in the Australian hit comedy movie The Castle, and The Beatles' I Will. A cover of Keith Whitley's When You Say Nothing at All reached number 3 on the Billboard Country chart. The album peaked in the top 15 on the all-genre Billboard 200 chart, and sold 2 million copies to become Krauss' first double platinum album. Krauss also was nominated for 4 Country Music Association awards and won all of them. So Long So Wrong, another Union Station album, was released in 1997 and won the Grammy for Best Bluegrass Album. One critic said its sound was rather untraditional, and likely to change quite a few minds about bluegrass. Included on the album is the track It Doesn't Matter, which was featured in the second season premiere episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and was included on the Buffy soundtrack in 1999. Her next solo release in 1999, Forget About It, included one of her 2 tracks to appear on the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart, Stay. The album was certified gold, and charted within the top 75 of the Billboard 200 and in the top 5 of the country chart. In addition, the track That Kind of Love was included in another episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. 2000 Euro present, current career, Adam Steffi left Union Station in 1998, and was replaced with renowned dobro player Jerry Douglas. Douglas had provided studio backup to Krauss's records since 1987's Too Late to Cry. Their next album, New Favorite, was released on August 14, 2001. The album went on to win the Grammy for Best Bluegrass Album, with the single The Lucky One winning a Grammy as well. New Favorite was followed up by the double platinum double album Live in 2002 and a release of a DVD of the same live performance in 2003. Both the album and the DVD were recorded during a performance at the Louisville Palace, and both the album and DVD have been certified double platinum. Also in 2002 she played a singing voice for one of the characters in 8 Crazy Nights. Lonely Runs Both Ways was released in 2004, and eventually became another Alison Krauss and Union Station Gold certified album. Ron Block described Lonely Runs Both Ways as pretty much what we've always done in terms of song selection and the style in which those songs were recorded. Krauss believes the group was probably the most unprepared we've ever been for the album and that songs were chosen as needed rather than planned beforehand. She also performed a duet with Brad Paisley on his album Mud on the Tires in the single Whiskey Lullaby. The single was quickly ranked in the top 50 of the Billboard Hot 100 and the top 5 of the Hot Country Songs, and won the Country Music Association Awards for Best Musical Event, and Best Music Video of the Year. In 2007, Krauss and Robert Plant released the collaborative album entitled Raising Sand. RIAA certified platinum, the album was nominated for and won 5 Grammy Awards at the 51st Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year, Best Contemporary Folk Americana Album, and Record of the Year. Krauss and Plant recorded a Crossroads special in October 2007 for the Country Music Television Network, which first aired on February 12, 2008. Returning with Union Station, Alison Krauss released a new album called Paper Airplane on April 12, 2011, the follow-up album to Lonely Runs Both Ways. In 2014, she and her band Union Station toured with Willie Nelson and Family, with special guests Casey Musgraves, and The Devil Makes Three. Personal life: Alison Krauss was married to Pat Bergson from 1997 to 2001. Their son, Sam, was born in July 1999. Other work: Krauss has made multiple guest appearances on other records with lead vocals, harmony vocals, or fiddle playing. In 1987, at the age of 15, she contributed fiddle tracks to the album The Western Illinois Rag by Americana musician Chris Valillo. In 1993 she recorded vocals for the Fish song If I Could in Los Angeles. In 1997 she contributed harmony vocals in both English and Irish to Irish traditional band Alton's Runaway Sunday album. Krauss had her only #1 hit in 2000, receiving vocal credit for Buy Me a Rose. She has contributed to numerous motion picture soundtracks, most notably the soundtrack Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? In 2000. She and co-vocalist Dan Tyminski contributed multiple tracks to the soundtrack, including I'll Fly Away, Down to the River to Pray, and I Am a Man of Constant Sorrow. In the film, Tyminski's vocals on I Am a Man of Constant Sorrow were used for George Clooney's character. The soundtrack sold over 7 million copies and won the Grammy for Album of the Year in 2002. The unexpected success of the album has been partially credited, as was Krauss herself, with bringing a new interest in bluegrass to the United States. She has said, however, that she believes Americans already liked bluegrass and other less-heard musical genres, and that the film merely provided easy exposure to the music. She did not appear in the movie, at her own request, as she was pregnant during its filming. In 2007, Krauss released the anthology 100 Miles or More, a collection which was a collection of soundtrack work, duets with artists such as John Waite, James Taylor, Brad Paisley and esteemed fiddle player Natalie McMaster, and newer tracks. The album was very commercially successful, but was received with a lukewarm reception from critics. One of the tracks, Missing You, a duet with Waite, was similarly received as a single. On August 11, television network Great American Country aired a 1-hour special, Alison Krauss, 100 Miles or More, based on the album and featured many of the album's duets and solo performances. She also makes a guest appearance on Heart's March 2010 concert DVD night at Sky Church, providing the lead vocals for the song These Dreams. Other soundtracks, for which Krauss has performed, include Twister, The Prince of Egypt, 8 Crazy Nights, Mona Lisa Smile, Divine Secrets of the Ya-Ya Sisterhood, Alias, Bambi 2 and Cold Mountain. She also contributed the song Jubilee to the 2004 documentary Paper Clips. The Cold Mountain songs The Scarlet Tide by T-Bone Burnett and Elvis Costello, and You Will Be My Ain't True Love, by her and Sting were nominated for an Academy Award, and she performed both songs at the 76th Academy Awards, the first with Costello and Burnett and the other with Sting. She also worked as a producer for Nickel Creek on their debut self-titled album in 2000 and the follow-up This Side in 2002, which won Krauss her first Grammy as a music producer. Reception and influences. Krauss's earliest musical experience was as an instrumentalist, though her style has grown to focus more on her vocals, with the band providing most of the instrumentation. Musicians she enjoys include vocalists Lou Gramm of Foreigner and Paul Rodgers of Bad Company. Krauss' family listened to folk records while she was growing up, but she had friends who exposed her to groups such as AC/DC, Carly Simon, The Rolling Stones, Lynyrd Skynyrd, and ELO. She cites Dolly Parton, with whom she has since collaborated a number of times, as a major influence. Some credit Krauss and Union Station, at least partially, with a recent revival of interest in bluegrass music in the United States. Despite being together for nearly 2 decades and winning numerous awards, she said the group was just beginning right now, because in spite of all the great things that have happened for the band, she feels, musically it's just really beginning. Although she alternates between solo releases and works with the band, she has said there is no difference in her involvement between the two. As a group, AKUS have been called American favorites, world beaters, and the tightest band around. While they have been successful as a group, many reviews note Krauss still remains the undisputed star and rock-solid foundation, and have described her as the band's focus with an angelic voice that flows like honey. Her work has been compared to that of the Cox family, Bill Monroe, and Del McCoury, and has in turn been credited with influencing various newgrass artists including Nickel Creek, for which he acted as record producer on 2 of their albums. In addition to her work with Nickel Creek, She has acted as producer to the Cox Family, Reba McEntire and Alan Jackson. Adam Sweeting of The Guardian has said Krauss and Union Station are superb when they stick to head-ons and hillbilly music, but much less convincing when they lurch towards the middle of the road, and Blender magazine has said the flavorless repertoire Krauss sings steers her toward light FM. In addition, Q Magazine and the Onion Avenue Club have said their newer releases are pretty much the usual, and that although Krauss is generally adventurous, these recent releases contain nothing to alienate the masses. Voice, themes, and musical style. Krauss possesses a soprano voice, which has been described as angelic. She has said her musical influences include J.D. Crowe, Ricky Skaggs, and Tony Rice. Many of her songs are described as sad, and are often about love, especially lost love. Though Alison has a close involvement with her group and a long career in music, she rarely performs music she has written herself. She has also described her general approach to constructing an album as starting with a single song and selecting other tracks based on the first, to give the final album a somewhat consistent theme and mood. She most commonly performs in the bluegrass and country genres, though she has had 2 songs on the adult contemporary charts, has worked with rock artists such as Fish and Sting, and is sometimes said to stray into pop music. Music videos. Krauss did not think she would make music videos at the beginning of her career, and after recording her first she was convinced it was so bad, that she would never do another. Nonetheless, she has gone on to make further videos. Many of the first videos she saw were by bluegrass artists, although Dan Tyminski has noted that the video for Thriller was very popular at the time she was first exposed to music videos. She has made suggestions on the style or theme to some videos, though she tends to leave such decisions up to the director of the particular video. The group chooses directors by seeking out people who have previously directed videos band members have enjoyed. The director for a video to If I Didn't Know Any Better from Lonely Runs Both Ways, for example, was selected because Krauss enjoyed work he had done with Def Leppard, and she wondered what he could do with their music. While style decisions are generally left to the various directors of the videos, including for The Lucky One, Restless, Goodbye Is All We Have, New Favorite, and If I Didn't Know Any Better follow a pattern. In all of these videos Krauss walks, sometimes interacting with other people, while the rest of the band follows her. Performances. Krauss has said she used to dislike working in the studio, where she had to perform the same song repeatedly, but has come to like studio work roughly the same as live stage performances. Her own favorite concert experiences include watching 3 Foreigner concerts during a single tour, a Dolly Parton concert, and a Larry Sparks concert. She appeared on Austin City Limits in 1992 and opened the show in 1995 with Union Station. The New Favorite tour, After Acres album of the same name, was planned to start September 12, 2001 in Cincinnati, Ohio, but was delayed until September 28 in Savannah, Georgia following the September 11 terrorist attacks. Krauss took part in the Down from the Mountain tour in 2002, which featured many artists from the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Down from the Mountain was followed by the Great High Mountain tour, which was composed of musicians from both Oh Brother and Cold Mountain, including Krauss. She has also given several notable smaller performances including at Carnegie Hall, on Lifetime television in a concert of female performers, on the radio show A Prairie Home Companion, where she sang 2 songs not previously recorded on any of her albums, and a performance at the White House attended by then-President Bill Clinton and then-Vice President Al Gore. Awards. Alison Krauss has won a record 27 Grammy Awards over the course of her career as a solo artist, as a group with Union Station, as a duet with Robert Plant, and as a record producer. She is currently tied with Quincy Jones as the winner of the second highest number of Grammy Awards. Only the late classical conductor Sir Georg Solti has more overall Grammys. She overtook Aretha Franklin for the most female wins at the 46th Grammy Awards, where Krauss won 3, bringing her total at the time to 17. The Recording Academy presented her with a Special Musical Achievement honor in 2005. She has also won 14 International Bluegrass Music Association Awards, 8 Country Music Association Awards, 2 Gospel Music Association Awards, 2 CMT Music Awards, 2 Academy of Country Music Awards, and 1 Canadian Country Music Award. Country Music Television ranked Krauss 12th on their 40 Greatest Women of Country Music list in 2002. At the 76th Academy Awards in February 2004, where she performed 2 nominated songs from the Cold Mountain soundtrack, Alison Krauss was chosen by Hollywood shoe designer Stuart Weitzman to wear a pair of $2 million Cinderella sandals with 4.5-inch clear glass stiletto heels and 2 straps adorned with 565 carat diamonds set in platinum. Feeling like a rather unglamorous choice, Krauss said, "When I first heard, I was like, what were they thinking? I have the worst feet of anybody, who will be there that night." In addition to the fairy tale-inspired shoes, Weitzman outfitted Krauss with a Palm Treo 600 smartphone, bejeweled with 3,000 clear and topaz-colored Swarovski crystals. The shoes were returned, but Krauss kept the crystal-covered phone. Weitzman chose Krauss to show off his fashions at the urging of his daughters, who are fans of Krauss music. Discography: 1985, Different Strokes, 1987, Too Late to Cry, 1989, Two Highways, 1990, I've Got That Old Feeling, 1992, Every Time You Say Goodbye, 1994, I Know Who Holds Tomorrow, 1995, Now That I Found You, A Collection, 1997, So Long So Wrong, 1999, Forget About It, 2001, New Favorite, 2002, Live, 2004, Lonely Runs Both Ways, 2007, 100 Miles or More, A Collection, 2007, Raising Sand, 2009, Essential Alison Krauss. 2011, Paper Airplane, Filmography, References. External links, Official site, Rounder Records site for Alison Krauss, Alison Krauss on AllMusic Database, Alison Krauss at the Internet Movie Database.